Catus Maximus here with a long-term ownership review of a Galaxy S6. This is just going to be a basic kind of overview if you're looking at an old phone and see how these have held up over the last 3 years. This phone has actually been pretty good to me. It has had no issues. I've disabled fast cable charging, so the battery charges a bit slower, but this phone has been recharged easily 500 or 600 times, and it will still last all day with light internet usage. Otherwise, you'd have to recharge it in the middle of the day if you've been watching videos or anything. But it's still surprising for the battery to have gone through that many cycles in over 3 years and still have usable life left in it. It's been a pretty reliable phone. I never got it wet, but I've always had a case on it and a glass screen protector, and I have no cracks. Screen protector's never broken. I've never had it in a big otter box. It's usually just a skin type case, and it's held up pretty good. Even the back is pretty nice, although they use a plastic lens over the flash, and so that gets a little scratched up. The camera lens is held up pretty well. There's like a micro scratch, but I've been careful about it. I since have upgraded to a Galaxy S8 Active, and the big difference I've noticed between the two phones is not so much performance, but the performance of the antennas. It seems that the wireless and the Wi-Fi and everything has stronger signal on the newer phone. Never have had any display issues. The camera still works just fine. The only real issue is that the front-facing camera has a couple of hot pixels or areas where they show up purple if it's under really low light, or even when you have your finger covering it. You'll see a couple of little purple areas, but it's only when it's really dark. Otherwise, under normal conditions, you can't tell. So that sensor is degraded some, but that's been the only real issue. This phone was incredibly fast. It had the 8-core processor and 3 gigs of RAM, and this is the 64 gig version, and that's been fine. It's pretty fast transferring to a computer. It has the fingerprint sensor, which is just a touch type, and it's worked out pretty well. It seems after a few months, your fingerprint kind of doesn't work as reliably, and you just have to reprogram your fingerprint, and then it seems to work just fine afterwards. As far as the performance, internet performance is pretty good on it. If I can get my camera to focus here. Nice and smooth, even to this day, on a pretty heavy site. And this is actually the Samsung S6 homepage. But it's worked out pretty well. And so I just wanted to give a review, see if somebody's looking at one of these phones used, or for a really good price on a cheaper plan from a carrier. I would definitely go for it. I think you would be just fine unless you're like a heavy gamer. The performance of the camera has been great in low light. This had the 16 megapixel in it. Under regular or sunny conditions, you really can tell the resolution. It's really nice. With the autofocus and the optical image stabilization, it shoots pretty smooth video as well. And your images, as long as you're holding relatively still, are basically perfectly sharp, even in the dark. It's really nice. I also like the size of this phone. It was the thinness really helped, and it's just a nice hand size. Anyway, just a short review. Thanks.